What's more valuable, $500,000 in cash or a meal seasoned with the wisdom of a luminary? This is the tantalizing question that sparked the birth of a groundbreaking show, Lunch with the Luminary.
This week on Lunch with the Luminary, I have Yolanda White. Yolanda is the CEO of DAYO Women, a fashion brand reimagining loungewear for the modern woman. She is amazing, and her clothing is just out of this world. When I first came across her clothing, I wanted to make sure that it would fit with my, my shape and my where I have lack and where I have more. And she did an amazing job of helping me style myself and all the different concatenations. She's a dynamic fashion leader, a board member of Meals on Wheels in Atlanta. She's the mother of 2 young, amazing men, and she is a transitioner into entrepreneurship. She spent over 15 years leading corporate marketing teams at Coca-Cola. And we have the opportunity to listen and learn and lunch with her today. Yolanda, thanks for joining me.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. What do you think about lunch?
I think it's delicious. We have salad here, rice, a little protein. I'm a veg out on the veggies on here. It's good.
I love it. Veg out on the veggies. So I talked about your transition from Coca-Cola to entrepreneurship. I also took that leap.
Ooh,
and
it's
so
a leap.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you. So what was that like for you?
Wow. I think, starting off, it really was about being brave, courageous, and having an abundance of faith and belief.
And what about an abundance of money?
Oh, it took that too. Okay. Let's talk about it. I think for the first time, I really had to have the courage to invest my own money in an idea that I truly believed in. And it was the first time I've ever done that. I think I've invested in me in terms of education,
right,
in terms of dressing the part for corporate America. But to fund and fuel an idea, that really was the biggest part of the transition. And there were a lot of things that went into that transition, honestly. I mean, understanding what it meant financially, aligning with my financial advisor, building budgets, making sure that there was enough runway in order for me to build the business. There's a lot that goes into the financial heft of making sure that we were set up for success.
Yeah. So how did you know it was time to make it? Because I assume, like me, you were thinking about it for a while before you actually did it.
No, I wasn't. No.
2 weeks?
Maybe, something like that. No, I have always been a leader that believes in purpose. I believe in loving what you do. And when you love what you do, you're successful, whether that's in corporate, whether you're an entrepreneur. If you love it, you can go for it. Well, I reached a point at Coca-Cola where I loved all the people I work with, but I didn't believe in some of the strategies and what we were driving. And so that led me to really start to ask the question, what is it that I truly love? And it was helping women, making sure that women could see themselves. And I just think that we're at a real turning point in society today where women are carrying families, they are caring for their elders, they're in big roles in different companies. And so this has created this really dynamic time for us as women, but it also means that we nurture everyone else and everything else, and we forget about ourselves. So that was sort of the genesis for me to start thinking about how can I nurture women in a new and different way.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I feel hugged.
Oh!
I feel like this feels like a hug.
It is a hug.
So how did you know? Okay, so that's
okay.
great.
So then how did I know?
Yeah.
I think, to your question, it's not a or don't know, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think I was just ready to believe in the idea. And once I had the idea, which really came from a conversation. I haven't told you how DAYO started. So I was on the phone with my girlfriend. I'm having a conversation. And she says, Yolanda, my marriage is failing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can recall those words coming out of my own mouth. Okay.
Right.
And so I had 2 questions. One is a deeper question like, oh, do you want to save your marriage?
Right.
And it was like, yes. And then the second one was really shallow. And I was like, what do you wear when you get home with your husband?
So wait, so she tells you her marriage is failing.
Yeah. And this is what I asked.
And you ask her, did you dress?
Yeah, how do you show up for him?
Let me hear how this went. Okay.
So in that moment, my insight was, as women, we show up beautiful for the world. And when we're at home with the people we love, we do not show up for ourselves or for them. So the powerful woman that she was, and I could relate to it because I would come home and put on my t-shirt and my little shorts
And take off your bra.
Yeah. All of those things for comfort.
Right.
And so at that moment I said, you know what, let's get you some stuff so your hubby can see the woman that he married, like the full woman, not the one. So I go online and I'm trying to find her stuff and I cannot find it. So in that moment I decided to create it. So it wasn't as if I dreamed of being a designer and I wanted to do fashion. That was never the calling.
Okay.
The calling was, I saw a need that as women, we forget about ourselves. And at times we don't even know how to go back and and like think about, who am I? What do I want to look like? How do I want to appear in different settings?
But I'm trying to figure
myself?
this out.
Yeah.
So I look at my car and I say, I need to change my oil, but that doesn't mean I can change my oil. So how did you know, okay, you know what? I can't find it. I'm going to design it. Where did you get that acumen to do that?
That's a great question.
The good Lord?
The good Lord. I'm telling you,
I'm serious.
It's just belief. Okay. Like I saw a need and I saw an opportunity area. Okay. Now, simultaneously, because I went to look for things for her, I saw that there was a lot of white space in the category. And the reality is, loungewear was a category pre-pandemic that had very little innovation in it. We saw a few brands that were playing in the space, but really everyone wears the button-down pajama pants with the pants or the short in satin, and if they have a few more bucks, they have it in silk, okay? So, the evolution of washable silks has come. There are a number of different fabrics, but for me, I was like, I want to be comfortable. I have 2 boys at home. I'm entertaining a lot. I never know when the doorbell is about to ring. Yeah. And so at that moment, I was like, I want to go create something that does not exist.
So it's interesting you say that, because when I got this fit, it was before the Thanksgiving holiday. And so I was like, well, since I'm hosting and I'm going to be home, I want to be comfortable. Yeah. But I'm hosting. Yeah. So
I want to look good.
Yeah. So it's, you have achieved your goal, because this is very comfortable, right? Like you put it on, it feels like a hug. It feels super comfy. But I did, when I wore it, outside of that, people say, why are you so dressed up and you're in the house? And I'm like, oh, mission accomplished.
Yeah. Exactly. So but you're comfy. So I like to talk about DAYO as being comfortable, stylish, and versatile. But that story really is the genesis of how we can find an opportunity, see an opportunity, and go validate the opportunity. So I took this germ of an idea. I went and searched for a team in New York.
Okay.
And I found the perfect partner. And when I was thinking about the values of my brand, I knew I wanted to work with women. So I scoured New York to find a woman-owned business to help me develop the pipeline and to help me with the manufacturing of the first collection. Okay. And I mean, mission accomplished. I did it. Yeah. So I had a very diverse group of women who were helping me build DAYO and really tap into this idea of evening wear meets lounge wear and make it flowy and comfortable and dynamic. That was the start of it.
So I'm going to go for those entrepreneurs that are watching or listening who just from the more ideation, the earlier stage in the maturity model. You came from 15 plus years at Coca-Cola, corporate marketing. How did you even know where to start? Oh, I need someone to help me with manufacturing. How did you know?
So the good thing is that I did work on the brand marketing team. In brand marketing, you are really responsible for the strategic development of a brand, the innovation pipeline, the go-to-market strategy in conjunction with a cross-functional team.
Got it.
So my understanding of the full funnel of marketing is at an all-time high. And then managing the P&L against it was at a high. So I like to say I do have very strong business management skills, very strong. So my ability to think through, let's build out the idea, let's make sure it transitions into an operational model that we could commercialize, and then ensure that we can continue to have that 360 approach was something that really wasn't hard for me to sort of think through.
You just translated it to entrepreneurship. So what advice, you lived it, you're living it, what advice do you have for folks who are in corporate right now who are contemplating entrepreneurship?
Oh, this is good. So for those who are contemplating, I would say number one, the financial need is really real when you become an entrepreneur. So if you know if you build a business plan and you're realistic about what it will take to invest in it, to build it, to continue to allow it to flourish, you may consider keeping a job and building a business. It is the hardest thing to do. I couldn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't start building DAYO until once I left Coca-Cola. My job was too demanding to do both.
I think one of the things that someone would have to do if they're going to make it a side hustle, and in our Business Boost Society community, we have like the side hustle, neighborhood for just this reasons. But I think they would have to bifurcate what are the activities that I can do while I'm working a full-time job, because as an entrepreneur, I want full-time employees to be full-time and working. So I wouldn't espouse somebody, getting paid and working a job and not giving it, your all and commitment. But there are certain things that in starting a business you can't do without focus. There are other things that you can do to start to build the foundation.
I agree. So what I'm communicating is once you build your business idea, this should be all strategic thinking, not executional work while you have another job.
Makes sense.
So once you do all your strategic thinking, your planning, and you create a budget, you either know at that point if you need to save a little bit more aggressively or if you're ready to make the leap. But you have to be in a place where you have a strong enough financial model. Now, it doesn't mean that you're funding it all. It might mean that your plan says, I really have to go after investors by X amount of time in order to fund the idea. But we're in complete agreement. Like, I don't believe in building side hustles. I believe you're either an entrepreneur to build a sustainable, growing business, or you're playing a game.
So I love that, because what it focuses on is the importance of strategy, strategic planning, and financial acumen. And that is the name of the game. And I think when you do that, you start to realize, there are elements of this business plan that I didn't incorporate, such as intellectual property and trademarking and the website and getting that up and going. Or those are things you don't have to wait until you're full time to do that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Good, really good advice. So
that was one.
Okay.
You said 3, right?
Keep it going.
Okay, keep it going. Second is make sure you're purposeful about your brand. So as you build your brand, we're having lunch. I'm sure every, podcast you do will incorporate an aspect of lunch. Being consistent about what your brand stands for as you build your audience, I think is very, very important. And as entrepreneurs, we can get very excited about what's new and doing something different and lose our focus on staying true to what we do. So I produce loungewear. Everyone's like, Yolanda, this loungewear is beautiful. I wear it out. And I'm like, I know you do, but we're loungewear. It is transitional loungewear that you could wear out, but I never lost focus.
So I'm not supposed to wear this to the store?
You are supposed to wear it to the store.
Yolanda, I'm not supposed to wear this to the store.
You are. So what I say is DAYO is loungewear that's comfortable for home, that it can transition with you, but the marketing never starts with you on the go. The marketing starts with you home.
I love that.
And we've been very consistent about that marketing. So I say, one, be very purpose driven and make sure that why you started your business, you stay true to it if you really have an idea that you've proved out. Like that.
Well, you've done a really good job. So people will be wearing this out. I see people wearing bonnets and hairpins out, and that is nowhere near.
And that's nowhere near elevated.
Exactly.
I'm trying to talk to those women. No bonnets, ladies. I don't know where
no matter how much it matches, no matter how much bling
leave
you put
it
on
at
it.
home.
Yes,
like, please.
That's funny. So I would love to hear your philosophy for our emerging and growing businesses on bootstrapping versus finding external funding. What are the pros and cons? What's been your experience?
Yeah, for me, bootstrapping allows a speed to market that you don't have to ask people to help you get things done. But it is very financially taxing. So for DAYO, it's all bootstrap. I built the business. And it made me very purposeful for how I hired, what my business model was. So I didn't go get a bunch of full-time employees. I literally leveraged a more innovative approach where I found experts and created an advisory board. And then I had employees that were executing with agencies that I could contract and expand depending on where the business was at that time.
So you built a network of other organizations like outsource. So I always talk about for
I outsourced
entrepreneurs.
everything.
Yeah. So I tell entrepreneurs, I'm like, to maximize your time, DDD, right?
Yeah.
Do, delegate, designate. And that third D is some things you can designate to an outsourced provider. It sounds like you found more of the third D.
Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely did. And I will say, I had to cut out a lot of things that I feel like cost money in corporate America. So
Okay.
where you do the big cross-functional team meetings and it's an hour or an hour and a half, I'm like, cut it out.
Have you ever
Like,
sat in those meetings and you just look around the room and you estimate like a salary over everybody's head?
Yeah,
And
of
you
course.
divide that by 2080 and multiply it by the 2 hours.
And when you're paying it, you know exactly. I just pay for 6 people to be in a room
And pontificate.
Yes. When I should be doing that strategic leadership and literally go and let
Love it.
people know what to go do.
Love it.
So,
who's in your mastermind circle?
wow. So I really do hold like some people that I work with from Coca-Cola near and dear to my heart. So I have I would say a circle of women from Coca-Cola that I will never, ever, ever let go. And so, when I go down my list, I'm like, oh no, there's Charlene Crusoe Ingram and Ingrid Saunders Jones and Katie Bain, and the list goes on, even to people who are at peer level for me.
You can learn from everybody. That's
Learn from
something-
everyone. But I mean, in this mastermind circle, these women have coached me from a professional development perspective. I can attribute one woman single-handedly made me a millionaire. This is what I love to say.
Don't give her name out.
I'm not, because you will write it, and yeah. But it's just because we worked so hard and we knew how to grow the business in the right way. So.
Not that we're gatekeeping. We just want to
we are gatekeeping,
But-
actually.
but-
we are.
But
We are.
I think the lesson in that is that, well, how did you choose her? I'll let you share what the lesson
Maybe
is.
she chose me. Maybe we chose each other. I tell people relationships, whether it's peer or someone who is a mentor to you, it has to be a mutual connection, and you have to be willing to truly work at it. I think a lot of people come to the table and they're like, oh, no, you can help me. And I'm like, really, these relationships, we help each other.
It's a synergy.
It really
it's
is.
two-way.
So I have mentees today that tell me, oh my gosh, Yolanda really helps me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you help me. Like, I don't even know if I believe fully in the mentor-mentee terminology, because I do feel like it is a mutual learning experience.
There's an
together.
assumption that there's more value on one side than the other.
It is.
But to your point, and I don't know about you, but for
Yeah.
every contact, even if there's someone who I feel can add significant value to me, I always come to that conversation or into that relationship with what is there with them, which is the what's
Yeah.
in it for me. What is it that would be valuable to them? And I guide the discussions based on that.
Yeah.
You know?
I am the
Yeah.
same way.
That's also part of my issues on accepting help, but that's a Taurus thing.
Okay, we'll
But-
talk about that. Yeah, I have that sometimes too. But I think mutually beneficial relationships are really important. So mastermind circle, what I would add to that, my family is very critical. So one of the things that we do as a family is we take time to make sure we pour into each person's business. And so, if you ever come to a DAYO event, there will be family in the room. It's just the way we are.
So
we
not to
support
stereotype,
each other.
but that is, in my experience, that is a very non-U.S. approach.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so where do you think your family has started? And it's a wonderful tradition. I think more of us should do it. But where do you think that, what's the ideology of that?
Yeah, we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the family. And so it's a way to cut down on expenses and still leverage the expertise that exists within the family. But my mother and aunt dedicated their life to building an organization that helps women-owned businesses. So
it's in
I think
your
it's kind of
DNA.
in my DNA. Yeah.
But I think it's so important. There was a gentleman that I met. I remember this in Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania, and had a conversation with him. This was back in the day when like everybody in New York wanted to move to the Poconos.
Okay.
Like it was like, oh, there's gonna be a bus and a train,
Exactly.
and you can get a house for $20,
Yeah.
and that type of thing. But anyway, he owned a hotel there in Pennsylvania, and we hit it off and we were talking, and he shared. I said, well, how did you come? He's like, I've only been in this country for X amount of time. It was some short period of time. And I said, how did you come to own a hotel? Like you were playing Monopoly quick, fast. Like,
Yeah.
how did you come to own a hotel? And he said, in my culture, see what you guys don't do here? He was like, it's very different. In my culture, we basically all sew into, we come here, we work,
And we sell
and we
into
work
it.
in someone else's business. He was pointing to, oh, that's my cousin, that's my uncle, that's my old neighbor. And they work in your business, they save money, and then the next pot of money goes to the next person to open their business.
Yeah.
It is truly cooperative economics.
Yeah.
And that's something that I wish we had more of in the US.
Well, if you don't do it financially, you could do it in time. So I'm in full agreement. But even if it's not a financial, we pour financially. If you pour in time, it is so beneficial. Yeah.
That's heavy
Yeah.
because time is currency, just like energy
exactly.
and the dollar.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one of the challenges for entrepreneurs, when you are entrepreneurial, not just owning a business, but as you know, when you are entrepreneurial, you are an idea machine.
Yeah.
You're always innovating, coming up. You're laughing because you probably have like 12 ideas that you triage this morning. So you're always coming up with things. But what I find is it's like a gift that has to be harnessed. Some entrepreneurs jump right into doing everything at one time.
Killer. Keep going.
Exactly. But one thing that I love and respect about the DAYO brand is that at least you were introduced to me with your clothing line,
Yeah.
but you have since expanded in a very deliberate way. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, our company is really built around self-love. And so, when I started designing DAYO, it was all about, okay, let's make clothes where women feel as if it is her letter to herself and she feels comfortable and she feels like she's loving herself in it. But we didn't stop there. We started introducing other elements that helped us enhance the self-love story. So there were experiences that we started to lean into. We built like giveaway self-love cards. During COVID, I wrote like my big self-love, almost like a self-love letter, but it's a guided diary to help women dig a little bit deeper into what it means to love themselves. And for me, like to your point, the pipeline didn't start with everything. It was like, let's be very focused on the clothes, getting them right, making sure that we could build the customer trust, the customer love, and optimize the product as we went along. And then simultaneously, in the background, when we were ready, it was time to start to expand that story. And so, one would say the only thing that was really important for me when it came to DAYO is that everything is proprietary. It wasn't a shortcut to go white label things and take stuff from other places that didn't belong to us. This was more about developing proprietary like innovations that we could put in the marketplace. So I'm so excited. Like,
yes,
we've evolved from clothes. Now we have our diary. It's on here, you guys. The diary, we have our self-love cards. And I mean,
so let's see the diary. So
Okay, so
I
here we
start
go.
with the diary, and this is basically going like a workbook.
Yeah, so this is like a workbook. And in here, what we tried to be purposeful about, it's stories, it's quotes, and there are exercises to help you dig deeper.
So is it like a prompt?
It is.
Okay.
So we went we're missing one thing because we have these colored pencils that go with it that are they're fabulous, but I won't create that here. But everything is like creative. So it is designed to open up your creative senses and let you reimagine, allow you to be introspective about your life and to dig deeper about what are the things that I love about myself or I need to discover in order to better love myself. So
I would
start
love
with
to give that
this.
to some teens.
Let's do it. But I started with this. Tell me 3 things you love about yourself.
3 things I love about myself. I love my ability to think on my feet.
Love it.
So that I love. I love and appreciate this is hard. It feels weird, but
Exactly.
I love and appreciate my oratory skills.
Yep.
I do. That's serves
You
me
are
well. And
gifted.
I love that God has put in me an addiction almost to serving other people.
I love it.
Yeah.
I have asked this of thousands of women, and they always give me behavioral or attitudinal attributes. And so what I do in this, dig deeper. I want to know the physical attributes you love about yourself. I want you to embrace yourself in front of a mirror and when you're not in front of a mirror, and what you feel and what you see. And so that's what that book is
Because the
designed
first thing
to
you do when you look in the mirror is you critique.
Yeah,
Whether
you're
it's
not
for-
thinking
yeah.
about your oratorical skills in a mirror.
Sure not.
You're thinking about, do my lips shine enough here? Do
Look
I
at those oratory
love
skills.
exactly? Do I love the way? Yeah, it's
Right.
popping on my face. So
Right.
The book is designed for you to continue to embrace the things that you know you've worked so hard to build from a skill set, from a behavioral, from an attitudinal perspective. But to go even deeper in a world that tells us every day we're getting too old, we're getting too big, whatever the two is, this is designed to say, take that noise out of your life and like take a close look in the mirror.
So I am a big fan of solo vacations.
Oh, that's a good
So
one.
I do solo vacations. So I have family vacations. You could do a vacation.
Yeah.
But I do regularly solo-cations, right?
This is
Or I
great.
call them me-cations. And so I love this lounge in self-love because I'll bring a book to read or an audible.
Exactly.
But this is something, and then I'll force myself in a good way to like introspect.
I love it.
This is a really good tool.
I love it. And I tell women to go on a date by themselves.
all the time.
So that is in the cards, which we'll talk about. Like, do it by yourself. But I met a woman who was 30 years old. She was younger than me. That's why I was like, there's no age thing. And she said, Yolanda, I take myself on a date. And this is like during COVID. And I was like, that is an amazing idea.
During COVID, maybe she had to take herself on a date. I'm just-
this is how
I'm
she
kidding, I'm
spends
kidding.
time with herself.
Yes.
So I decided to take myself on a date.
Okay.
And it was the most uncomfortable thing I could have ever done. I had them move my seat. I went to La Belle Bouquet, you guys, one of my favorite restaurants.
Mine too.
Okay,
Really good
cool. We'll
risotto.
go there Mondays. Half off bottles of wine. So I go there and I'm so uncomfortable. I asked them to move my table because I felt like I was too in the open and people were speaking to me and and I was like, but I'm by myself. Because we have been told that enjoyment is achieved when we're with other people. These are the myths that I'm breaking in the diary.
I love that. So when I went on my first solocation to
Was it
Mexico,
hard?
No, I'll tell you what was hard. So to Mexico, it was great. I talk for a living, right? Even as a consultant, like I tell
Okay.
people I should really get paid by the word, and then it would
Yeah.
be great. So I went on the solocation to Mexico. It was great. I realized that I went an entire 24 hours. So I said hello to people. I just nodded without talking. That felt really good. The only time that I felt uncomfortable was when I went to dinner. And I was fine. I didn't care where they seated me. But then the mariachi band came through and I was like, can you tell them do not play in front of our table? Because I didn't want to have to like by myself in front of everyone, nod at the mariachi band. But anyway, other than
those
that.
are things that are real things. So I believe, like when you talk about my product portfolio in the line, these are things that I've taken the time to be purposeful to unfold the story in a way that women could receive it and participate. So it wasn't that I just started with here's the book and you guys embrace it. It was discover yourself, see yourself, like enjoy the loungewear, and then we can start to go into a deeper, richer conversation.
So generally people will project on the outside something that reflects what's on the inside.
Yeah.
And so what did you learn about yourself in extending your brand to the self-love products you have?
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of people don't project what's on the inside to the outside. So when people get in a dressing room with me, and yes, I do go into the dressing room and style women, they're always like, I don't want to be too sexy. And then when I style them sexy with their shoulder out or a little bit of midriff showing, they love it. Like, I never thought I could do it, but I was like, oh no, you didn't want to be sexy when we started, right? So I think like what we have to do is match like belief with desire and let that come together in a way where people can really start to lean into what their styles are. But I just find that what women articulate as what their belief is doesn't always align with the desire. And there are many women who want to be seen as beautiful, who want to be seen as sexy, but society has told us, oh, you're a mom, you should be very conservative. You are over 50, you shouldn't wear something that's showing your knees. So I believe young people today are breaking the myth of that. They are helping us as women understand body positivity in a new way. And so that's what we're leaning into.
And be true to ourselves.
And be true to ourselves.
So I'm going to ask Yolanda to lean a little bit.
Okay, let's go.
What did this whole journey, like if you pause and introspect it, what have you learned about Yolanda?
I've learned that Yolanda plays by the rules, but I'm okay redefining the rules. And I redefine the rules in a way that really sticks with my values, to my moral code. But the reality is, I don't feel like my life has to look like what the books have told me it needs to look like. And so, it's everything from, if I'm dating, my partner, he's a secret. Like, I'm not sharing him and telling, but society tells you the minute you like somebody, put them on Instagram, let the world know you're in a relationship. I don't buy into those rules.
So I can't find him on IG right now?
You probably could, but not with me. And it has nothing to do with the lack thereof of a commitment,
Right.
you know?
Fair enough, yeah.
And so, that's a silly answer, but the reality is, I've learned the more that I love myself, the more confident that I am to play by my own rules and define them in a way that works for me, for my family, for the people who are close to me.
Love it.
Yeah.
So one of the things we talk about in the Business Boost Society community for entrepreneurs, because listen, we provide the capacity building,
Yeah.
we provide the training, the connection to funding and things like that. There are others that do that. But what differentiates is we pay attention to the fact that over 90% of entrepreneurs suffer from depression, mental health challenges, et cetera, because entrepreneurship is hard.
And it's lonely.
It's lonely, it's hard, it's alienating, and it's arduous, right, in the nature of it. And so I'm just curious, how does the self-love, approach apply to entrepreneurs? How can they literally incorporate this in their entrepreneurial journey?
No, this is all about filling your cup. Because as an entrepreneur, you are giving so unselfishly. You're pouring into your business. You're probably working more hours, working for less money until you cross the tipping point, right? And so this is about taking the time to make sure you're filling yourself up and that you are overcoming any imposter syndrome that could be happening as you're building,
Or the naysayers, right?
Or the naysayers.
Why are you doing this? It's not going to work.
This isn't a great idea. I don't believe in it, because most entrepreneurs do find that their friends support their businesses last. They built their businesses from strangers.
Why?
Naysayers. How did they do it and I didn't do it? It could be a number of different things, but this is what you deal with as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's a big challenge, because what's interesting? I don't know. I did real estate years ago. Did you ever do real estate? Or any sales? What they do is, the first thing they do is they tell you, start with your sphere of influence.
Yeah.
And so you make a list. They tell you to make a list.
Yeah.
Of everyone you know.
Yeah.
And then those are the first people you're supposed to call.
I did that.
Okay. So most sales jobs, right? Or direct sales. So they say, this was a real estate license. So they say, make a list of everyone you know. So you don't know what they're doing. So you list everybody, your family, your uncle. And then they say, I don't know about your family, but then they say, now you're going to call them and you're going to let them know that you are now a realtor. And if they're looking to buy or sell their home, they should reach out to you. And then, because of what you just said, that so often those who are closest to you, those who in lip service say they love you and they support you, not everybody, for the record, not everybody, don't DM me. But for the most part, those are often the last people to support you. Wow.
I think we're changing that paradigm now. I think and being fearless to go ask for it and to call people out, like, I need your support. When you change that language and you change the ask, which self-love helps you do that, that's what gives you the power as an entrepreneur.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot like you did.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
Okay, so you just launched Lounge in Self-Love. You're going to call your top 5, right?
Yeah.
People who know and love you, and you're going to tell them that you need them to buy this book and support it, or host a party with the cards.
Yeah.
You're on.
How would I do that?
Yes.
Hey, Mom. You know what? I'm so excited. I have this book that's coming out, and I think my approach to making sure that I could grow this faster and quicker is to have you help me by hosting a party for DAYO. Now, it will be simple. Like, you get 10 books. They can either buy it themselves or you could purchase it before we get to the event. But I think if you can rally women together, that would be a huge support for me. I would really love you to help me do that. Are you open to it?
I love that, because I can literally see those of you who have watched just literally insert your product or service in that, and that one turns into 10. Now she did kind of cheat because she called her mama.
No, I did, but I would call all the people, and that's how DAYO grew. So during the pandemic, when everything was shut down, it was building one customer at a time. And the momentum started in Atlanta. It went to New York. It went to Chicago. Then we did it in Florida. We had people invite us to New Orleans. We did events that were in San Francisco. So like it grew. And so we even have like these sessions set up with businesses this year. And so
this would be great with ERGs. Those of you listening,
they are so
who are
great.
in corporate with the employee resource groups.
It is great.
They're always
That's
looking
what
for
we're
things
doing.
to do.
That's what we're doing. So most of them are the women's ERGs. So like for me, that's where the opportunity lies. And some of them we bring the clothes in and some of them we don't. So we took this, we translated it to a worksheet so people can also purchase worksheets and conduct their own self-love like workshop. And I give specific 6-step process to how
doing
you
a
do
workshop.
it. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. Okay, but show me how to do it. How does this
Okay,
work?
so here goes the cards.
Okay.
The cards are, you got to open a box and then you can show it out. So the
Start
cards,
by opening the box, Jackie. Okay.
Yes. So when this comes, it's all shrink wrapped, and the cards are also shrink wrapped as well. It's so beautiful.
It really is.
So it starts with self love, but the intention is there's 50 self love experiences. There are 38 that are there are 38 experiences. There are 4 that you can share with a partner. There are 4 cards that are just affirmations that you shout out, and then there's another 4 that's just a wild card.
Okay.
Here's the intention.
Do I shuffle them?
You can, you don't have to, but at the beginning of the week, you pick 3 to 4.
Okay.
And you commit to loving yourself with those activities.
Okay. So
Let's pick one and see what you get.
I'm
well, let's make
ambitious.
sure you don't, go to the middle to make
Should I
sure
mix
you
it
don't
up?
have the cards. I mean, you don't have like the intro in my letter. I have a letter in there on one of the cards. Okay.
Well, hopefully I got, okay.
Okay, turn
so then
one
this
over.
is the beginning of the week.
Yes, you can do it
And
on
now
Sunday or Monday.
I'm going to,
Let's go.
Oh, I can find somebody for that one.
Okay.
No, just kidding.
Well, we'll talk about we'll talk about it. What's
Okay,
the
so
first
my
one?
first one says, time to lace up. Put on your sexiest lingerie and take in all of your beauty. Beauty is really all about confidence, and if you feel beautiful, then you are beautiful. Sofia Vergara. So in the house, I'm just supposed to lace up.
You're gonna put on something sexy. When we were going through our parties during COVID, we had women go pick out their sexiest lingerie and bring it and show us. They didn't have to put it on. And like some women brought a sports bar, and I was like, absolutely not. So if that's the sexiest you have, then that self-love card will push you to go to the store or go online and order something that has some lace that's for you. It doesn't have
I love
to be
this because
expensive.
you know what? When someone does this and they start to feel better about themselves, you can have those moments that people don't know about. You could have that under your sweatpants,
Exactly.
right? And still start to remember
you want me to show what I have on? No, I'm kidding.
This is a PG.
No, I'm kidding. Right.
Lunch with the Luminary, and not the Luminary Lounge.
Exactly.
Yolanda.
Okay,
so this
right.
is great. I do want to share that she has one for couples. So it says for 2, spray a scent on your favorite love spots and have your partner explore them. Now, I told her I have to, get working on somebody to play the game with, but there's a solo version of the game too.
Exactly. We just have 4 of those in there. But it's just intended to be a reminder that's spontaneous, that allows you to go to action, around how you love yourself. So one is a little bit more introspective. The other one is intended to be action.
So I love this because I thought that this was like invite everybody over and we do it together. But this is more so like I could take this on a solo vacation and say, here's my card for today.
Exactly.
I love that.
And you could push yourself on your solo vacay to go find something sexy or to take a look in the mirror. But it's all of these cards, we've done these experiences with women. So we've done everything from creating perfume together to spa days to makeup. I mean, you name it. We've basically candle making. We've done it in order to make sure that women are finding ways to tap into themselves.
So I am going to get a couple of these sets, and we're going to do them as giveaways on the Women's Wonder neighborhood within the community, because I think that this is a great way for an entrepreneur to just, like you said, fill their bucket. And I love that you also couple that you can feel beautiful and not feel uncomfortable, because some people don't like to dress up because it's itchy or just uncomfortable.
Constricting.
Yeah.
So you asked me at the beginning, what were 3 things or 3 tips that I would give? The last one that I didn't give was be daring. Be fearless in the way you approach your business. And even though everyone will not say yes to you, that is okay.
What do you do when it gets scary?
Self-love.
That was a good segue to
like
the truth.
Go back and just, it's okay. I mean, I just feel like as women in general, we have to understand rejection is something that's normal. Men learn rejection very early. They're taught rejection when they approach a woman at the age of 7. We're pursued. So then when we start businesses and people say no, or Yolanda, I like self-love, I'm not convinced about it, I might be one of your late comers to it. I'm like, that is perfectly fine.
Okay. Right. And you know what? To hear you say that, I think is a great nugget of wisdom and reminder to folks that are watching and listening, because you came from corporate, I come from corporate, and so we're accustomed to understanding that every no is closer to a yes.
Exactly.
And so, one of the things we talk about is exposure and things like that. And so I think that's what makes corporate executives really good entrepreneurs, but it's a really good nugget of wisdom for folks that don't come from that background. Don't give up.
Don't give up. Keep working and be strategic about how you plan your business. Pivot in ways that are financially smart, that help you get to a profitability that is something you can sustain.
Your products are therapeutic. From the clothes to the products, it just feels like, you cause people to stop and think. Usually when people think fashion, they think the surface, but it looks like what you're doing is you're causing people to stop and think about how you feel when in the clothes on the outside. So that's a lesson in and of itself.
A purpose-driven business.
So what do you need to boost your business? What would you want to do next?
Gosh, so we are in a 2-year phase where we are starting to build out the self-love story and really anchor the company in a deeper way from just fashion to self-love. So our growth model right now really is focused on more B2B and driving distribution of DAYO. And so we've been very heavy to prove out the models, to build the proprietary tools with direct to consumer. Now we are shifting that focus. And so it's all about distribution. It's all about ERGs and big company like partnerships that we're really starting to take advantage of now.
Channel partners.
Excellent. And so what we need are advocates that allow us to put these wonderful tools in Target, in Walmart, in Bloomingdale's, in Nordstrom's, in Saks, like the places where women are going every day, and to have these retail outlets support women in new and different ways than what they've done before.
And not just because it's a fad or it's the topic du jour.
Exactly. Because it's needed.
Such really, really, really good insight. Are you a mentor? Do you mentor?
I mentor so many women. I love mentoring. I'm exhausted by mentoring. No, I'm kidding. No, I actually really, really love it.
Her queue is full.
Yeah, no, I really love it. But, we started the conversation. A mentee and a mentor need to be mutually beneficial to each other.
Right.
And it has to be a relationship that feels additive in both ways. So I love mentoring. It just comes natural to me. I think I've had like 17 mentors at one time. So
That's
I'm
a lot.
very, it's a lot.
But in addition to like the people that you actually had to do performance reviews for?
Yeah. So, but it's something I really love to do.
Right.
I love.
It's definitely fulfilling.
Yeah.
So when it's all said and done,
Ooh.
what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to say about Yolanda White?
That women empower other women, that women support women, and that Yolanda was one of those women who supported other women. I had one mentee tell me, and I think this is probably my greatest gift, was I've never had a woman who I knew I could trust that she would talk about me in a way, when I'm in the room or not in the room, in a way that uplifts me. And that's what I really strive to do.
And you know what? If more of us had Yolanda Whites to do that, then it would make the journey so much easier.
So much better.
Speaking your name in rooms that you are not in, let's dig into this lunch.
Let's go. I cannot
Awesome.
wait. This looks amazing.
Awesome.